Hi, everybody. It's Grace Schiffman.
And Caryn Prall.
So, we are the leaders of the Rain Circle, and we're so glad you're joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking about something really important. At least I think it's really important. Karen, we're all real estate agents, mortgage brokers, leaders, business leaders. So, we all know what return on investment is, ROI, right?
Well, I hope we all know what return on investment is. It's what you're putting your time, your energy, and your resources into to get you the return to match your goals.
Correct, correct. So a lot of times though, when we look at ROI, especially for real estate agent, we look at the money we put into a program and make sure that it comes back to us, right? Like when we do like farming, postcards, any kind of anywhere that we put our money, we need to make sure that we're getting that return back on it. But today we're talking about something even more important. We're going to be talking about return on impact, which return on impact is not necessarily about money or investments. It's about something really, really important to us women leaders.
It's so funny because we've been talking about our values, and part of our program is to help people find what their values are. Last week we talked about when you know what your values are, the decisions we have are easy. Okay. So when I'm looking at the value behind this is my values are integrity, abundance, and impact because I want to leave my mark on the world. And that's what impact is. It means I made a difference or I improved even one person's life. Like if I can impact one person, I'm winning. And so, what are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish? And what are we trying to make an impact on?
So that's really important. A lot of us sometimes think impact has to be big and noisy and this or that or the other. But I think if we look at it, the impact that we make on one person, a group of leaders, a market center, if we break it down really easily like that, I think that we become focused because we don't want everybody to think, okay, my impact has to be worldwide, or I need to be the leader of 25 market centers or this or that or the other. I really do believe that the impact we leave in the world is really measured differently than almost anything we can do.
Think about that. I agree with you. Think about that as an agent. If I can help one family who maybe they've never owned a home before, share what's possible and help them buy a home, they're going to change their family in the next generations. Like that impact of helping one person achieve the impossible to them will impact not just that person but generations to come. Like that's I see impact one by one by one. I do not see it as a broad spectrum. And I have the most impact of when I authentically believe in it. Just like your commitment to military, right? You impact one military person at a time.
Well, thank you, Karen. And I think that that's true. Especially as real estate agents, I've told this story before. One year we sold a $1.1 million house in Savannah, and I also sold 162.5 in Ludowici, Georgia. And I can tell you my most favorite part was a $160,000 house because it impacted a military family who had never owned before and they didn't think that they were ever going to own. At closing, the wife was crying. I mean, how wonderful is that to know that impact that the impact that I made on that one family is going to be for generations, right? Because now her kids know that they can own a house. And I think that you're absolutely right. The impact that we have on one family can lead to generations of changes.
And that's where it's like each of us can stop and smell the roses as agents, for example, that we've done that for someone, right? And I agree with you. Like the homes I sold that were under 100,000, that 10, 15, 20 years later are worth hundreds of thousands and how that changed their life. Like your impact may not show up immediately. Your impact may show up decades later.
100%. And the dynamic that you leave behind, right? Like I said, now not only is that house worth a lot more than they bought it for, several years ago, but the conversations that they're having with their kids is much different than when they were renting continuously and having to move because their rent was jacked up or whatever. The pride of ownership is I still remember the very first house my dad bought for us. And for us, it was a huge deal because, even as a young girl, I knew that no one would ever be able to kick us out. I've told you guys before, we had a really rough childhood. And that first house, even though it was like probably a ghetto area, it was not a great area, but it was still the place that I knew no one would kick us out of, that I knew that no matter what, I was going to that same school. It was so impactful for us that it goes beyond the one sale. It goes beyond everything. The impact that we have as leaders is, especially as real estate agents, real estate, mortgage officers, we can really do a lot. We can really do a lot and impact a lot of people.
Yes. So how do you start to impact if maybe you feel like, what am I doing every day? I'm just on the grind of selling homes, and who am I impacting? Or why is it that you think that some people have such a difference in impact? I look at Sheena Saydam, her impact, right? She took a passion and she ran with it. And if you would share a little bit about Sheena Saydam, hi Sheena, we're going to have her speak to our group as well. But if you can share a little bit about the impact, and she didn't just wake up and start doing this immediately. Would you share a little bit about her story? Because I think it's so inspiring.
So, one of my very good girlfriends, Sheena Saydam, she's spoken with, in our group before. She is just amazing, but she looks at things a little bit differently. She's a military brat. She married a military guy, and she knows exactly who she is and who she serves. So she's in the Washington, D.C. area, and she really believes in her community. So she's taken steps I mean, from the time she started, right, to do impactful things. And now we don't all have to be scared by this because her impact is huge. She has actually been able to purchase shower trucks for the homeless. Shower trucks for the homeless.
Why was that important to her?
Well, because, the importance of smelling good, of being able to present yourself, is beyond anything else, right? When you're able to give someone something as meaningful as a place to, you know kind of renew yourself. It not only renews your body, it renews your spirit. And so for her, that was really, really important. But she does a ton of other stuff. That was the biggest thing. I mean, I was like so incredibly impressed by that. But she supports digging wells in Africa. She leads a lot of things like community food. Or what do they call them? Food drives. I mean, she does everything, even at a small level, that impacts a lot of people. So for us, I mean, we can look at it. Not all of us can do huge fundraisers for shower trucks, but we certainly can do food drives. We certainly can do put on your glasses.
Because I can't see?
Yes.
No, no.
God, I love you. I'm sorry. Yeah, no. She okay, I gotta stop. Caryn Prall. Her impact has affected tons of people, and it affects people like me, right? When I see her, when we raised money, we were at a Lady Leaders event.
Well, I want to share about that's what I wanted to talk about real quick. Is your impact doesn't have to be solo. If you think about what you've done for military veterans, because like with Sheena and your group, the military group, or Lead with Kindness, which we talked about with Tristan and Nick last week, briefly touched on it. Your impact is you could also get together with like-minded people and do amazing things. So please carry on and share what you were going to share.
With Lady Leaders, I mean, we've done so many amazing things. We've gotten together because it's not just me and Karen and Rach, right? It is the people that support that group. So we've been able to raise thousands and thousands of dollars by what? Getting people who are coaches, people who can give a little bit of time, an hour here or an hour there, and have gotten together with, massively and done that. We've done that with Lead with Kindness, where we say, we're going to raffle off this item. Who wants it? And people have spent, several $100s for a baseball or something. I mean, it's amazing what you can do together because none of us are in this by ourselves. And the impact, Karen, that we have, especially if we get together with others, is because now they know also what we can do, right? At the Lead with Kindness event in San Antonio, I was so touched because, as you know, our family went through a bunch of flood stuff here in Richmond Hill.
Last year.
Yes, when it happened in San Antonio, I knew what those people were going through. So the impact that we had there, together with a bunch of fabulous people, and Mo Anderson, we were able to raise thousands of dollars that went directly to the people that were affected by that. So compound, now I know, and that not only were we able to have a good time and network, but we raised a lot of money. But it wasn't just, Grace or Ernie or people that were on the ground there. It was all of us together with $10 here, $10 there. We could all make a big difference. The impact is.
And I would like everyone to consider in our circle to think about who's impacted you and why. So a story that was a great leadership story about impact and just being kind. And we can talk about Yassi's story, but I'm going to share a personal experience because I don't know that this person knows. I have told them because it is important to me what it did. But I was at a conference. I was a brand new leader in my brokerage, and it was 2010, and I had to go to a training. And here I am. I was living in a town. I didn't know a person, literally starting from zero. And I go to this meeting and I have dinner. I go walk in the clubhouse to where the conference is and I sit down to have dinner by myself, which people don't know, but I have a lot of social anxiety. Like I literally have sat in a bathroom and hidden for hours at a time. And so walking into this place and not knowing anyone, and I can see there are people with the conference there, right? You know the scene I'm like setting up. I sit down, I have dinner. And this woman next to me reached over and she said, "Are you dining by yourself?" And I said, "I am." And she said, "Why don't you come sit with us?" And it was Georgia Alpazar from the
Oh,
North Florida region, and
yes.
who's very highly regarded, very well respected, just an amazing legacy and career with Keller. Amazing. But she doesn't realize how much that impacted me, that 16 years later, I can still remember the entire scene and how she extended her olive branch, or just where our thing is you don't have to be invited, you belong. She was such an exemplary example of that because belonging is important to me. So that stood out to me. So I know that there are ways that people have impacted you and how it made you feel. So could you consider making that opportunity for somebody else?
Do you know what I have to tell you? That's one of the key things in my Lead with Kindness networking event. I tell the leaders that I have. So I've selected like 7 or 8 people that want to be part of the group, and I tell them, your job is when someone enters the room, if they're by themselves, you immediately have to go over there, talk to them, and introduce them to 2 or 3 other people. Because I never ever want someone to go to an event and feel like you did by yourself when there's a room full of people. But a lot of people feel that way. And I've always made it a point to say, no, right here, right now, we're all going to be here together. We're going to build a bigger table. We're not ever going to like close circles and just make sure that your friend and this friend or whatever. It's always about everybody else. I think that that is very impactful. Having someone come up to you and say, come and join us. Come and
Yeah,
join
because
us.
now when I see people alone, guess what I do?
Yeah,
Come sit with
100%.
us.
So see, and that's something simple, leaders, that, when you're somewhere and you see that person, and, a lot of times it's going to be someone like me because I am not an extrovert. So it's going to be me walking into a room by myself. Come and say, hey, why don't you join us? Or what's your name? Or something like that. Because I think that that impact, like Karen said, 16 years later, she remembers what Georgia did for her. I want someone to say, this happened at this event because this woman came over and said, join us. Tell people the story about Stephanie at how we got, you don't have to fit in to belong, and what she told us about you.
Oh, so we were one of our events. I don't remember which one because I don't know what city we were in, where, and whatever. It doesn't matter. We were at an event and there was a woman there, beautiful. And she had, was it blue hair,
Pink hair,
pink
big
hair,
glass,
and pink glasses.
tattooed.
And I walked up, I'm like, "I love your hair. Glasses are grace." And we just introduced ourselves or started talking to her. And we did our event. And after, she said, I have never felt so welcomed in a group because I am judged so often. And it was so nice to be invited and welcomed with such open arms because I do get judged. And that broke our hearts, first and foremost, that people don't see people as people. But number two, her sharing that feedback also kept us going. And that's what this impact can help, is it can keep you going and move you forward, right? When you understand the mission that you're on. And her saying that, like, that's why we came up with this. You don't have to fit in to belong. Everybody belongs. And that was really where that started. And that it changed everything because she shared that feedback too.
Yes, yes. So I want everybody to remember that. I want everybody to know that your impact can be on one person. It doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to reach 300 people at a time. Change that one person, because you never know how that's going to impact everybody else. I want everybody to remember your impact isn't just today, it's what's in the future for somebody that you may not know that well, or someone like a Caryn Prall. Look at her where she's at 16 years later. So we always have to remember that the little things, the things that we can take right now to impact, are going to have a long lasting effect. So I want to challenge everybody. Let's do this. Let's be impactful leaders, right?
I have another example.
Okay.
It's taking responsibility and ownership. And what I mean by that is you received a handwritten card from Mo Anderson. Why? I mean, this is a leadership lesson for the times, for everyone to hear how you show up in the best way.
So Mo Anderson and I had been communicating about a few things, and she missed replying to one of my emails. One of my emails. I mean, I'm this agent in Savannah, Georgia. I'm not in leadership. I'm not a team leader, not an OP or anything. She missed and responding to an email from me for probably 2 or 3 months, right? And it had been because she was ill, but I didn't know it. I mean, it was just she stopped
And you
responding
weren't even
to.
stressed about it.
No, I wasn't, because I thought, I mean, here's this amazing multi-millionaire who is running like all these companies and things. I mean, she probably just forgot. Well, this amazing woman writes me a handwritten note and apologizes for missing an email to me. And I'm thinking, holy moly, what a leader. What a leader to say, I'm so sorry that this happened. I was ill. How can I make it up to you? Please let me know the next time I can. And it was about a Zoom call that we wanted to do some training in Martin. So I mean, handwritten by, I mean, this incredible leader.
Address, like, she did the work. And imagine if we treated our clients like that, our family like that, our friends like that. Like, if we showed up decently in the right thing, because that just impact you, it's impacted me. And I've told that story to other people about how great leaders show up.
Yes, absolutely. How great leaders show up to everybody, to everybody. So, anyways, that was a really great story, because that's one of the things that I carry always in my heart, is the way that Mo Anderson made me feel. And I hope that, that all of us can take our part and make other people feel as special as that, right? Impact their lives. No, oh, wait, she didn't ignore me. Here's the thing. And she's saying, I'm so sorry. Let me make this up to you. When can I get on? I know. I love her. We need to go visit her in Oklahoma, by the way.
I know. I actually owe her a call, so that's funny.
Well, leaders, I think that's it for Return on Impact. We cannot wait to see you pretty soon, in what, 18 days, something like
And
that.
sign up for our newsletter because we are starting soon. We're going to do a countdown, and we're going to have more information out for you very, very soon. Otherwise, we will see you next week.
Bye bye, everybody. Mwah.